The views and opinions expressed on Beautiful Disasters are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their sponsors, or anyone else involved. Also, there is going to be a lot of adult language used on this podcast, so please keep your little kitties away unless you don't care about them that much.
Welcome back to Beautiful Disasters. This is our first full episode recorded in 2023.
Bum bum bum! Check us out.
And it's I'm glad. We've been catching up recently with some older releases. We have some newer minis that have been coming out.
Yeah, I got a whole new style of mini. We've got Gets Nasty on there, which I've been really enjoying, and
it's a good time.
Never a bad day to torture your friends with some schlock abuse.
However, we are now in early February, and I would be remiss if I did not feature a Black Forward movie of some form. And I wanted to do sort of a weird genre, blaxploitation style movie.
Hang on. First of all, I need you to admit your name to these people because I know 100% that you were like, blaxploitation time, blaxploitation time.
Well, yeah.
So say your name for the people.
Well, that's what I was getting to. I was just trying to give it a little intro. You ruined it.
I know. Okay. That's what I'm here for.
All right. In any case, this is our first episode of 2023. I am the Grutz.
Hi, Grutz.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Murphy.
Oh, great.
The grand pain in the ass.
And we have the best guest ever.
I know. I'm so stoked that he's our first guest of the new year.
I literally think it has to do with the fact I'm half black.
No, it's because I was just
I'm just saying.
What can we bother Steven on? Because I literally just started throwing out movies and was just like, do you want to talk to Steven for Mad God? What about Glorious? What other weird shit? And he was like, no, I've got one for Steven.
But this happened previously with the other. There was another film that involved zombies in Louisiana. Sugar Hill. Yeah.
Oh, Sugar Hill was so good.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the genre a lot, and I think it's one of those things, like, we don't usually do thematic stuff, but during Pride Month, I think we should feature something akin to that, and
yes,
in Black History Month,
give me an excuse to be extra gay. Yes, thanks.
In our own way, that I feel like we should represent a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's fun, and I have such an adoration for the genre. Now, this particular movie, we're going to get into in a little bit, but
yeah,
I think we need to open with the notion that someone on this panel here went through the most epic movie marathon recently.
Did. Yeah,
that was for the ages. Can you please, Murph, talk a little bit about what you just did?
Well, over the weekend, I looked at the weeks coming up and I was like, I'm not going to get like a full weekend in for probably like at least 2 months. And I was just like, so I basically, before I even knew my partner was coming up, I was like, I'm not leaving the fucking house. All I'm doing is watching movies. So I dragged my partner along for this ride. On Friday, we did Phantom of the Paradise, which is an older one. Great. Recommend you check it out. Early Brian De Palma.
Badass.
And then we started with the new Hellraiser. Then we did Fresh. Then we did Barbarian.
Oh.
Then we did...
it's so good.
What was one of the next ones? We did... Bodies. We did X.
Yeah.
And what was the other one that we did that Saturday?
Was it Pearl?
No, Pearl we did Sunday.
You did the menu.
The menu, yeah. That's right.
I
did the menu on Saturday.
It doesn't matter
Pearl
about
we
the
did
order.
the next morning. So X was the last one of the last ones we watched that night. And then I rented Pearl for the next morning because he had to go to work. So then we did Pearl, Prey, and The Sadness on Sunday, and then on Monday I watched Skinny Marink, and then got to show Terrified, not Terrifier, and Event Horizon. Nothing wrong with Terrifier. I just want to specify Terrified because it's a really fucking great Argentinian film from 2019, and not enough people have watched it.
I was going to say that was also a foreign film, so completely different.
Yeah.
Well, outside of just the plot, but just country.
Right.
Where it
Yeah.
was
Right.
made.
Yeah, but no, we went through all of those because I was just like, I want to catch up on all of these things. All I want to do is bask in movies and eat food, please. And thank you, no pants.
Yes.
So what did y'all watch recently?
Well, I think before we get into the paltry number of things that we might have gotten into recently, I have to say it's the most epic catch-up marathon because the vast majority of those movies, actually all but one of those movies, were from the last year.
Yeah.
Year, 13 months or so.
And there's never a wrong time to watch Event Horizon. Let's be real.
God.
Let's be real. There's never a wrong time to watch
Well,
that
I mean,
film.
those were at the movie night. I'm not even counting those.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about your weekend where you just
no, I just decided
shut the door.
I was gonna rent if I couldn't find
welded
it to
it
stream.
shut.
I was gonna rent it, and if I, because if I didn't have copies of it already, and if I couldn't rent it, then I was just gonna buy a fucking copy. Like I bought a digital copy of X because I was like, "Fuck you, I'm watching this movie."
There's no regrets with that. I'm
No,
sure.
it was great. I cannot wait for Maxine to drop. Holy shit!
I think Maxine might be the creme de la creme of that series.
Oh, I hope so. I want it to be like gritty and sexy. I want it to be like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets what I wish the new Hellraiser was.
Well, it's going to be early 80s, so we're going to get some sweet-ass music, too.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But all I want to say about your endeavor is that, often I get very overwhelmed by the amount of content out there and the stuff that I want to watch. So a lot of things hit the back burner, and then it just, that list of things I haven't seen is so huge and so overwhelming. I'm just like, oh, fuck it. And sometimes it just falls to the wayside.
Yeah.
So to take that time and do a weekend where you just hunker down and do it and just burn through all the fucking shit that you've been wanting to see in one fucking week, that's epic.
Dude, it was fucking great. And honestly, like, I would love to do more things like that with friends where we pick a weekend day, we bring a bunch of food or we buy a bunch of food. Everyone comes over somewhere in PJs and we just hang out and fucking watch movies all day and hang out and shoot the shit about them. That's what I fucking want.
You mean like Drive-In My Living Room used to do?
Yeah. Yeah. We used to have a double feature.
Call a motherfucker, Steven.
That was his thing.
That was me.
I know. I'm also just saying.
I'm just saying.
In any case.
No, I agree. It was an agreement. I'm just saying we did have that. And
no, I think we should.
It was always an amazing 3 featurette day of just shit. Like I had seen some of it, but I got introduced to some other films that are now in my collection. So it's always
hell yeah,
good fun.
Yeah.
If we had Beautiful Disasters branded gold stars, I'd stick one right on your forehead. Okay.
I'm gonna just put
You
that.
might be
in my
onto
heart.
something there, though. You might want to let's dig into that. How can we make that work?
Yeah, right.
That's a thing.
I just feel like it deserves accolades.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of catching up on shit, I finally, within the last couple of weeks, I did actually finally get to see Barbarian.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and your thoughts?
Which was fucking awesome.
Right? Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
It was one of the ones that like it just I didn't get to last year. I had heard everyone's like golden reviews about it, and somehow I kept myself just enough in the dark to not get spoiled.
Same. Oh
and
my
I'm
gosh.
so happy about that.
Actually,
I did not listen to
a lot
your
of thoughts outside of our episode.
I didn't listen to your episode until I saw it.
There
same.
wasn't actually a lot of spoilers on Barbarian that hit the internet because they came out in like November or early December.
Barbarian? No,
Yeah.
that came out in the summer.
There were some people
Was it the
that
summer?
Late
I
summer,
think
yeah.
some people might have started to do it. In
See, I
groups,
never
so
got
I
a
stayed
single
in-
spoiler from that fucking movie, and I didn't watch it until like November.
I will give it to the people in the groups. They were pretty good about either being very protective or clearly labeling, being like, this contains Barbarian spoilers. Because I feel like, especially with this being like the first major venture of Zach Kreger's, apart from like apparently like one film that he and Trevor made that they were like, it was terrible. We made it for the wrong reasons. I'm so sorry, you guys.
But really, it came out in the summer?
It was like end of the
Wow.
summer. Yeah, it was like
I'm just blown away because I remember
it did so well because it came out before Halloween. But it was
and to be fair, it still would have done better if it came out after Halloween because fuck that movie. Anyway,
but it was a very slow burn because like
Steven has no feelings.
It grew its notoriety.
Yeah.
yeah.
In a slow scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you end up seeing anything recently that you were?
Oh, I mean, I've seen a couple things. So one of them, and this is catching up on last year's because, again, last year was just, and I don't know if it's because coming out of post-world-ending fucking shit or whatever, but, like, I was not used to the level or the amount of horror or slash thriller slash, like, sci-fi that dropped last year.
It was a banner year.
Fuck ton. And this year is setting up to be even more.
Oh,
so, like,
God.
I'm just saying, like, so I finally... after hearing Grutz's rave review, but also reading great, just amazing reviews on the film, watched The Menu.
Yes.
10 out of 10. Fucking love that film.
Hell
Also, finally watched Pearl.
Yes, good.
Which we didn't get to last year. It's just, again, so much shit. And most recently, I watched Infinity Pool. And that movie...
I cannot wait to see
whoa,
that.
buddy.
That's on my very short list.
That needs to be like a priority.
It's gonna be. I'm gonna see it before it's out of the theaters. Yeah.
And the only reason I say it's not necessarily story-wise a theater-specific film, but what Brandon Cronenberg does visually looked amazing on the big screen. And there is a lot of visuals done there. So just that is the main reason to see it on the big screen.
Oh, I'm so
And you saw you remember my description in the showrunner thread.
I did.
And because I was like literally I thought about that for a minute. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, that. Think about it. Brandon grew up under David, but he had all these other fucking genre directors to go with.
Yeah.
That are all equally as insane as David Cronenberg in different ways.
Oh yeah.
But I'm seriously, when I said the high anxiety of Aronofsky, I'm talking Pi level. For me, anyway.
Oh.
Have you seen Pi?
I have
Murph?
not.
That shit will give you a panic attack. That movie is
I already have
up.
panic attacks,
That
Steven.
movie...
Why do I want to watch
it was his
something?
first film, and that movie is fucking like...
Then don't watch Mother either.
I'm taking
don't watch Mother either,
medication to not have a panic attack.
And then also don't watch Mother.
Okay.
They're very anxiety-driven films.
Okay.
But that's why...
Or do like 2 Xanax before you start.
I've never taken a Xanax.
Oh, you need to do more drugs.
Yeah. But
What?
those are the three, I feel like, biggest ones that I watched. And... I mean, as far as for top out of those three in general, I'm going Menu. But as far as for art film, Infinity Pool would make art students question things.
Yeah.
That's how art that fucking film is.
Good. I'm here for it because that's
Yeah.
what my bachelor's is in fine arts. I'm ready to question my whole world.
Yeah.
That's it. And I'm so ashamed that I forgot the menu of the things I watched because that was top of my list as well.
Such a good movie. God damn it.
Yeah.
Way too good.
Yeah.
Way too good to get snubbed in the fucking Oscars.
Oh well.
Which can we all give Mia Goth like a fucking nod for like being the new fucking like voice for like horror needs to be in fucking the Oscars?
Yes, she's been awesome. She has been knocking it fucking down.
Dude, I had one singular desire for the Oscars because I know how bullshit they are, but I was hoping Mad God would get nominated for either Best Visual Effects or Best Animated Feature, and of course, it was completely ignored. And
anything that
it's
even
literally
resembles
one of the greatest cinema achievements.
What's his life's work too?
And if it's on there and they put it on there, they have to label it as a thriller or it's kind of horror, but it's mostly a comedy.
And I bring that up on a couple of Madness episodes. I'm like, well, it's kind of like, where Silence of the Lambs they labeled it as a thriller. I'm like, really? He rips a dude's face off. I mean, is that really
even
what
if
they do
you're
in
calling
thrillers?
it a thriller, why is that not part of the horror genre? Why is it such a problem? Like, I'm saying this this is my pontification.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm agreeing. It is. It is part of the horror.
It just
like,
makes
Psycho's
me want
technically a thriller, not a horror, but like...
Oh, it makes me want to shake people by the ears.
So okay.
Yeah. So the Oscars need to get their head out of their ass, basically.
Oh, yeah, no,
that's what they need to do. They should get their other ass.
There's a wealth of beautiful experimental things, and if you want to see transgressive and interesting points being done, horror is the place to do it.
And I will say, I thought A24 had it going on, which they do, clearly, stellar for those. But I want to check out Neon more, because Infinity Pool was released under Neon, and that's my first Neon film that I can recollect. I might have seen some in the past.
Yeah.
But they're like A24 on steroids.
Oh, shit.
With like the level of like... mind fuckery that happens
Well,
in the films.
yeah. I mean, and there's a lot of good houses doing. Spectrovision, Elijah Wood's house is doing great stuff.
Oh yeah, that's when the Elijah Wood film would Come to Me, Daddy, or
They did Mandy. They did the Greasy Strangler. They did.
What's the one he did where he was
Come
like,
to Daddy?
Come to Daddy. Come to Daddy. That's it.
Yeah.
That was just unsettling.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
I wish that I'd gotten a little more unsettled by the film we watched today, but
I was about to say, yeah. Speaking of horror, the trailer alluded to a horror element that didn't.
okay, technically it depends on what trailer you watched.
Very true. We're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
But we are going to be talking about a film from 1974.
Oh, really? This one's a 76.
Is it 76?
Yeah.
it was
76 or 77, depending on what you're looking at.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because the only other film that our main character starred in came out in 75.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, I was misremembering. 1976, Devil's Express.
That's right.
Yup.
AKA Gang Wars.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that AKA later. But this was a movie shot in Harlem in the 70s.
Yep.
When New York was at its most pristine.
You mean when heroin was the most rampant? Yes.
Yes. when New York was a trash hole.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, let's face it. What city wasn't a trash hole?
New York, especially Harlem.
Oh yeah. New York was rough in the 70s. But it definitely fit the movie. But
yes.
All right. Well, give me a vibe. Tell me, can you summarize this movie as best you can?
This movie revolves around the protagonist of this movie is a big afroed young kung fu master who has a school in Harlem, and he's a proud motherfucker.
Yeah.
And he lives his own way. And he is portrayed by an actor who has the greatest name.
Yeah, he
that,
really
that
fucking
any
does.
actor has ever had.
Yeah,
and his name is Warhawk Tanzania.
Yeah.
I will say part of the reason why he is a proud motherfucker is because that fro was a beast. Like that fro looked good.
Oh, yeah.
You can't argue that fro was like
pristine.
The only other fro I can think of that looked as good as that was Enter the Dragon. What the fuck was his name?
Basketball player?
Yeah, exactly. Like no. Basketball player was the game one.
Game of Death.
Game of Death. Yeah,
that's right. So it wasn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, it was not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was Game of Death. Anyway, like I just remember the first time I saw that afro, I was like, oh shit, like commanded presence. This guy's is kind of on par with that.
He's got good. Warhawk's got good presence. I just wish that it had been utilized a little bit more effectively.
Yes,
but their dance choreography was pretty.
Can we do that now, or can we gonna wait a little bit?
We can finish summarizing it.
Okay,
where
we can pretty much go in.
He takes the world's shittiest best friend on a trip to Hong Kong. Best friend steals an amulet containing a demon.
Yes.
Comes back, starts the weakest gang war I've ever seen. Next to maybe old ladies fighting over supermarket aisles.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
it's like playground rules.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like they're really doing anything.
They're really
no.
not.
There's always one dude like posing off to the side. Like it's fine that my buddy's getting his ass.
I think everybody was
good.
just too poor. Like there's literally one scene where like drug deal goes wrong because they rob him, and that's the only gun that's not like strapped to the side of a cop in the entire movie, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, nowadays it would just be like, well, the proliferation of firearms is what the gang isn't using those. All that shit, all the gang war part of the movie would have been handled in about 25 seconds.
I think they were trying to transfer over the old way into this film as far as the kung fu mastery is like
schools of martial arts fighting against each other.
Yeah,
very
held
much.
a certain prestige amongst certain gangs, and apparently those are the only gangs that fuck with each other because they knew if they went to another gang, they would just get shot in the head. I think that's really what.
Yeah, probably.
What
so you had the black martial artists versus the Chinese martial artists over, I guess, getting their cocaine stolen? It just seemed like kind of nothing.
And what and like going with the theme of why they picked this film. One of the things that I have been watching that wasn't like film related, but it's definitely related to, you know, the month is I finally started watching The Godfather of Harlem.
Ooh,
with
nice.
Forrest Whitaker playing Bumpy Johnson.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah,
How is it?
The new show. Well, I mean, it's on season 3. It's if you like. Obviously embellished because it's a television show, but if you like historical marks done accurately in series like that, it's awesome. And Forrest Whitaker, I mean, I didn't have a doubt that he was going to crush it. I mean, it's fucking Forrest Whitaker, dude. Like,
yeah, he's
fucking Ghost Dog, bro. Like, he's fucking Ghost Dog.
It's pretty legit. Like, so does it hold up kind of like American Gangster, like that level of like?
I honestly like it's different because American Gangster they tried to take Bumpy's apprentice and then they crammed it into a 2-hour movie where they shift and slight spoiler they shifted how he was getting heroin into America because it went later in the 60s with the Vietnam War. Well, before that they were getting heroin from somewhere else. I'm not going to spoil where they were getting it from because that's a big part of the story. So it's how they were getting into the country at that point and like what Bumpy was like. The show starts Bumpy getting out of Alcatraz and kind of going from there, and it's mainly dealing with him and the Italians. And even and like it's crazy because it reinforces the fact of just non-biasedly watching the show that it's just that another story of how there has always been a different version of what the hot topic is now, like the Black American. There's been the Irish American. There's been the Italian American. There's been the Asian American. Any person who is not like just born and bred in America, because I can't say white because Irish are white. I mean, a lot of Italians are white unless you're like heavily Sicilian and have that tone, you know. And it's just it really reinforces the thing that like every it's always something new that kind of takes the place of being the new slave, the new the new oppressed race. And but it's weird because the Italians think they're above the Black American, but like wait, but you guys were the Black Americans 20 years ago.
Yeah,
you know, it's
you're
like,
the ones that everybody was slurring. Like,
exactly.
You know, and I think that's.
I mean, if we're gonna look at the character Ronan, he's gonna slur everybody because that dude was a piece of shit in this movie.
I hated his character.
Oh my god,
no, he sucks.
What did I write about him? Whiny cokehead bitch.
Whiny, that's about right. Whiny cokehead bitch. Yes.
Yeah. World's worst BFF.
He literally climbed down into a hole, not knowing what was down there. There's no way you could see that fucking jewel from up there.
No.
Just to dig around.
No, he was
like,
just bored
off.
because he didn't want to meditate.
Come to inner peace.
I'm not going to come to inner peace. I'm not going to watch your back while you come to inner peace. Fuck you. Never mind that you took me to Hong Kong.
And I just went right by the skull.
Yeah.
In front of the walkway.
I think one of the reasons why I like blaxploitation so much and is because it was that era in, you know, when late 60s kind of broke out cinema from the, you know, the censors, you know, and all the control of it. When they were given a chance, when black artists were really given a chance to make their own thing, we started seeing like this independent cinema come up that was, you know, it was genre based, it was action, it was funny, it was everything we wanted. And it took off. Like it was a very marketable thing. And this just happens to be not a very good entry into that genre, but I quickly fell in love with it. I understand why Tarantino has such an adoration for it.
This was
No. This was directed by a guy named Barry Rosen.
No, I know it wasn't directed. I'm just saying, like, in any of the interviews I've heard, I haven't heard Tarantino mention this film.
I don't think he's mentioned this one particularly.
Okay.
I mean, it is very clearly obvious that the genre.
Oh yeah,
he's a super fan. Super fan of the genre.
Any of his movies,
any of the exploitation genre, I feel like he's like.
The main reason I chose this one was just because it had gang warfare. You know, it had some weird freaking supernatural shit. It had kung fu.
You had me with Kung Fu Master fights demon in Subway.
Yeah.
which is where the demon apparently decides to go hide. Which
Well, the bright lights.
yeah,
so.
no, he can't
He's
handle
like
the bright
Gizmo.
light.
Bright light.
That's right. That's right. Although I have to say, so like when the demon possessed that first guy, I love that like they painted these giant white eyes on his eyelid with like just one pupil in like
So
the middle.
was it paint? Because I was trying to figure. I thought
his eyes were closed, and they painted eyes on his eyelids, which is why they look so giant.
I'm watching like, did they fucking paint that?
That's why they started to smear later too. That's why they started to look so fucking weird.
Okay,
I just started laughing, and all the things I was thinking in my brain, I was like, I cannot say any of this shit out loud. Like, it's just too funny.
Oh my gosh.
But, like, it reminds me, like, we were talking throughout the movie about how, like, a lot of dialogue just wasn't even happening. Like, you could see their mouths talking.
Yeah.
They would
They're
just play a
having
They would play a song.
song
Like, what
over
was
time.
that? The day in the life of him and his girl, where it was just like this beautiful white bread song over like a black couple.
Yeah.
Montaging
What
like
the
his
fuck?
life.
Yeah, just
What the
showing
fuck
that
was
he's a man of the people. Look how much everybody loves him.
He walks out of his apartment building, all of these black kids sitting on the porch, and he's like, "You kids, I'm like, what the fuck are you?
All right, I'll play baseball with you. Fuck your ball right by.
What the fuck?
He's got that pimp ass, like, denim, like, suit on.
No shirt,
my
no
God,
shirt.
no shirt.
He was wearing a Canadian tuxedo with no shirt underneath.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah. But also, like, his outfit from the end of the movie is just
Oh, the gold,
kiss.
the sparkly gold.
the gold velvet overalls.
Yeah.
Bell
Did you notice that they were ripped?
No.
When he like before he does the final like blow, pow, pow, he's got like the guy he's got his foot on the chest, and then he kneels down, and then if you look, this was with the this wasn't the subway. This was with the leader of the gang.
Okay.
Right before he goes in the subway,
Yeah.
there's a split in his pants. That my eye was just like, that's not smooth.
Oh
Because the pants were so shiny. It was like a smooth surface. And then literally, if you just looked up his leg, there's a bam right there in his pants.
I kind of want to get the guys from Vinegar Syndrome to employ the same tactic they did with New York Ninja on this movie. So, like, all the sequences where you could tell people were talking and that they just lost the audio or whatever happened, and they did music over it. I want to know what was happening. I want them to just make up some shit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Oh my
it couldn't
God.
make the movie any cheesier.
No.
No,
But
and,
you're right.
Maybe it would actually fit the Gang Wars trailer, because if you watch the trailer, so this is what we were talking about at the beginning. When you watch the trailer labeled Devil's Express, they talk about, that there's this demon that's come and that he's going to have to fight in the subway, and that, like, it's killing all these different martial artists and everybody else and blah, blah, blah. And he's got to face down with it. If you watch the trailer labeled Gang Wars, it's just like the blacks versus the Puerto Ricans versus the Chinese. And I'm like, there were Puerto Ricans in this movie?
I don't remember
exactly.
any Puerto Ricans in
And
the movie.
they're just straight up, don't mention the demon whatsoever. There is no demon. It is only gang warfare.
Yes, the other trailer, has no supernatural element at all.
And they're all fighting over the
it's
spot in the
literally,
subway.
it was completely made to ride the coattails of The Warriors, which
Yeah.
was a successful, awesome
Amazing
genre
film. To this day.
gang movie.
To this day.
To this day, it
Fucking
still holds
amazing
up.
film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
100%.
Yeah, we don't even get to see Warhawk Tanzania fight that much. Like, we get to watch Rodan and his shitty
So
Shitty friends.
here's the problem. Okay, so
and the dumbest cops alive with their mutant animal theories.
There was a separate credit in the opening credits for the action director, Master Frank Ruiz. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He sucks. Okay. And all I can say is, like, this movie. Now,
Eloquently put.
there were some talented martial artists in the movie. You could tell, like the chief of the Tong, like the chief fighter of the Tongs, was pretty talented.
I would say that the
Warhawk
majority
Tanzania
of the people
was
in this
very
film
talented.
knew how to do martial arts well. They just
They didn't know how to shoot it.
yeah.
They didn't know how to shoot it. It looked like some of those really bad vanity movies where, like, dudes that run karate or taekwondo studios decide they want to make an action movie.
I thought you were talking literally about the singer Vanity, and I was like, was she in another movie?
Oh no, I've got multiple movies with Vanity in it. Okay. Yeah.
But it's almost like they wanted to focus. They were looking at the one take shot where you follow the thing without any breaks, and that has never made for a good martial arts filming.
Well,
ever.
Exactly.
Ever.
And
But
not
they
only
also-
that, they were shooting a lot with one camera, then stopping to do like they needed multiple cameras, and I get they didn't have much of a budget for this, but
Yeah.
all
That's fair.
that and there was some like that big alleyway fight sequence in the middle of the movie where they just tried to pull back enough so they could see like 2 or 3 fights at once, but they weren't all in focus. It was just bad. And at the same time, choreographing 2 people fighting is hard enough. Getting 3 fights going on, sometimes there'd be someone in the background that's just like
Just
resting.
chilling.
Maybe chilling.
Or
Like,
just-
hey, I'm taking a break.
I legit thought I didn't realize that guy was part of the gang when I first saw him like in the corner. I thought that they had forgotten the sound guy or something off in the corner, and I was like, "Did they just film him? Is that supposed to be in the shot?"
I will say that this film it suffers from what I think is a good story.
Yeah.
And a good build up. Like when you get back to New York and you see the hand come over the fucking railing, my inner Harnerd's like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then the final payoff, I think, with the makeup for the zombie and the demon, was awesome.
Agreed.
I think that was really good looking.
I liked the design of the demon.
God, there's so much in between that I'm like, fuck you. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. They just could have
between
utilized a lot
all
of
the
it
dialogue
better.
missing where I'm like, no, this could be good character building to where I might give a shit about this lead character and his girlfriend, fiance.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And, or maybe I would have liked the Rodan more. Like, there was so much shit cut out. And
They focused on the wrong things. We were talking about this while we were watching it. Is the only time I've ever seen this before is probably when I first got the DVD some years ago. Code Red put this out, and it was probably my second movie of the night. I was probably like several whiskeys in. And, and I did not remember. This is an 84-minute movie that feels like it's 2 hours.
yes.
Yeah.
And they
so long.
could have chopped 10 minutes out of this movie easy, no fucking problem.
And it still would have felt long.
And
I'm
it
sorry.
still could have felt long.
It would have felt long.
Because even just the editing and transitions, I mean, the little things of how you edit a scene and how you move into the next scene can really keep a pace going. Even just the way you do it.
And that's why, I wish that they would take more films like this that have a really great basis, but maybe weren't executed the base.
Remake them? Actually
And
give them a remake?
Give them some budget. Give it another look. Maybe involve some of the original people if they're still around.
I can agree. I can get behind that all day.
like-
I would watch a remake of this just to see what
Right.
they do with it.
You know what would be really cool? If we had money with this podcast.
Yeah, if we had money, that would be really cool.
No. We get
Sorry.
we get a couple like digital turntables together, put a movie out, and remix it. You know, like a DJ would remix music live. You could do that with video and audio, and you chop it up a little bit, and that shit would be fun. And getting people in on it, and just put something new out there. Like, let's make a fucking 30-minute version of this movie that fucking crushes.
Hell yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
I'd be in for that because,
I'm showing a lot more of that fucking demon, dude.
I 100%. I wanted to see more of the demon throughout the film because they definitely used the shadow in the subway for 3 of the kills. That was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I just want a little, I don't have to see the whole thing. I just want little taste.
Yeah, we got darkness.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got a dark silhouette.
Yeah.
But like I said, the payoff at the end, which is where the budget went for that particular practical effect, it did pay off because I thought it looked well. Like they definitely put money there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, if we'd had gotten a little more of that throughout the film, we'd have to wait from the first bringing the hand over, or the breakout of the box, bringing the hand over. That was it until the end of the film.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the guy walking around, whoever that guy was, I think did a great job. Whatever the actor's name is, wandering around New York with noises and bright lights,
Yeah.
looked just uncomfortable as fuck and lost and in pain, which I thought
Yeah, no,
did its
he
purpose.
sold it with his eyes closed.
So up to
I
that
gotta give him
point,
that.
there were parts of that film that gave me hope. And then literally after he goes into the subway, after that, I'm just lost for 45 fucking minutes.
I was
Yeah.
hopeful, Even when we got because the amulet came over top of him and he turned into like Christmas goo.
Yeah.
Like the red and green like melting. I was like, okay, something interesting is happening. You're showing
Evil Dead kind of.
You're showing us a dynamic with the amulet. This is good. And then we just never fucking touched on that again.
Oh, what was the makeup to do with the ancient
Oh
guy
my
that he went
God,
and saw?
the
That was
worst.
fucking terrible, bro.
We were sitting there, and at first we were like, is this the worst psoriasis we've ever seen on someone's face, or is this just the worst age makeup?
Or were they trying to make him either look a specific type of Asian or just Asian in general?
Just old.
I thought
Just
it might have
age him
actually been a leper.
But he looks different at the end of the film.
Well, yeah.
They show him walking up.
And then you realize,
because they
it
realized
really-
they shouldn't show close-ups of that fucking makeup anymore.
That was so bad.
So-
It was like what we do with the zombie wall. You just take it and build like clay and putty on your face.
Yeah, it was just like
terrible.
Play-Doh
It was terrible.
with some Parmesan cheese on it.
Yeah, and
It was
just let it
fucking
dry.
terrible, dude.
Just let it dry. Look like you've never met lotion. You don't know what it is. You've never heard the word.
The leper thing could make sense, and then it would have been cool if like a piece just fell off. I was like, oh, sorry, excuse me.
I thought I thought it might have been like, oh, well, he's like some old like mystic that is like a old as shit and like maybe dates back to like the initial sequence of the movie takes place in 200 BC.
Yeah.
We were talking about it when we watched the trailer for Gang Wars.
Random fucking.
Can you imagine? Because they probably did not cut a different cut of this movie.
They didn't have that money.
Can you imagine? You're like Gang Wars. This looks like a fucking gang movie, and then you go in, and the first thing you see is China, 200 BC. The fuck?
Yeah. But I will
It's like
say,
a big murder suicide kung fu.
I will
like,
say though,
cult
the intro to that movie gave me hope for the film because I thought the intro was really fucking solid. Like, in the vein of that style of film, like it was really, that was done really well. Like they kept in like a ceremonial esque. They all just sat there and took it. Which I mean, let's face it, that and then he killed himself. And
even though he was using a Japanese katana.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, Grutz.
Centuries out of date, but whatever.
Wasn't going to go there. I was trying to give him some fucking credit here.
No, you know who I want to give credit to? There's a scene where they go to the bar and these two dudes get in a fight, and the waitress at the bar gives them what for. Where she's just like, "I told y'all not to fight."
That was still bad acting.
That was the hottest shit.
It was still, but
I mean, it was hot.
I would still watch her kick the shit out of people slowly more than
I'd
I would
probably
watch
let her
the rest
kick the
of
shit
them.
out of me.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
also didn't hurt that she was the hottest lady in the movie.
Yes.
And a restaurant worker with the salty restaurant worker. Man, I was in love.
Well, that whole that's a whole thing. Like,
I didn't say
adding
the acting was
salty
good,
restaurant worker.
but watching her flip people was good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I agree. That fight scene was it did surprise me. But again, we're talking it's early in the film.
Yeah,
that's like happening the same time as like the subway thing because he's wearing the amulet and it's like fucking with the demon at the same time. So like all that's happening at the same time, and then it's just and then we get music over voice parts that are supposed to happen and then the way it wraps up, I'm sorry, like when he's laying in the hospital bed, it's
and
like
that's just it.
It's like the end of the fucking Columbo episode
Now
where the cops
we're
come
all
in. It's
friends.
like, oh, the demon's gone. I don't know, guy. I don't know what happened. Huh? See, we just I got to do the paperwork. See, like what the fuck?
Although I will say that when he was like, "We gave it to the priest," I was like, "You gave it to that sketchy dude screaming outside the subway? You gave it to the dude from the Burbs? What the fuck is wrong with you? What is this? The end of the Blob remake? What the fuck?"
No, it's just. I knew what they were talking about, and then they go to the scene where it's the old dude shuffling up the fucking thing to the boat.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes a lot more sense."
The way that ended, it was so like I don't know, just that happy music insert. Hey, everything's okay. I'm like, no,
we're
this
all
is
friends.
This is terrible.
Well, I gotta say also, this is a rated R movie. It was released
for what?
Rated for blood apparently. And
the pink blood.
The
paint blood.
very,
Yeah. Oh, that's
very-
right. There was a headless corpse.
Yeah.
There was a headless corpse.
Oh, there was the way
hyper annoying lady.
The fucking cunt passed out too.
Yeah.
She was a fucking cunt.
Oh my god,
Oh,
just
she
going
was
down
awful.
and like breathing on people.
Yeah. She literally was like, "What is wrong? Who does that?
Yeah.
Who does that?"
Elbowing cigarettes
that
out
gets
of
you
people's
punched.
mouths.
Yes.
Even before COVID, that would get you punched.
That would definitely get you punched. I would.
But I gotta say, like, I'm a little disappointed by the level of exploitation and the black exploitation because first of all, in his montage where he's going around town and you're seeing his life, So you see him waking up from what was probably a good night for him.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
In his
there's
little karate
there's not
pants.
even a titty. And
I
you're
was
talking
expecting some titties.
You're talking about
Yeah.
that last scene.
And the world's most chaste kissing.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
But that last scene in the hotel, in the hospital bed, the only way that they could have raised that from the ending that they gave us would for his like lady friend just be like, well, I got to make you feel better and just like hit that top off or something. That's how you roll the fucking credits on that
Oh,
movie.
shit.
You know?
That would have been awesome.
But
I think the closest we got to titties was Warhawks.
Yeah.
Warhawk with the shirt open. And
I am very disappointed in the lack of tit.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I like a good titty.
same.
the fight sequences were lacking, especially when it was like one person versus many, because it was all like one person will attack at once. It was not well put together.
Again, it would have been fixed if they had shot with multiple cameras, because we get that a lot. We get the one person being attacked by many in multiple films, but it looks good.
Yeah.
If
it's suspension of disbelief thing.
Even if they had done the thing that they did in most of the the chapsaki like kung fu flicks in the 70s, speed it up a little bit, make it more kinetic.
That's how Dolomite got famous. He sped that shit up.
I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking about like the gaze of the camera in a lot of exploitation films where like you get that leeriness, like whether it's action or it's blood or it's sexual, you get that leer. The closest we got to that gaze in this film was that bitch lady on the subway when she was looking at people. That was the only time where we got like leering and like into people, like her staring at people. That was the only time we got that. Otherwise, it just felt like this whole time, like the camera just sat there and was like, hello, I'm a camera.
So
I'll be recording you
It's
today.
the only time we got the leer, which means it's also the only time we got the POV. Mm-hmm. It's the only time we got the POV. Which, even in the 70s, if you weren't a Giallo film, but still, like, that's definitely from that era of film where you're getting that.
Perfect time for it to give us demon vision, man.
Yes. What is he seeing?
Yeah.
What is it going through his head when the amulet is around?
I thought we were going to get more play with how the amulet was affecting other people. I thought that's why we were calling it out in the bar and those dudes were arguing. I thought the amulet was affecting them. No. Yeah,
and I thought because like he ripped himself out of the dude with the painted fucking zombie eyes, like there was going to be more of that. What the fuck? Like. No,
that's true.
Like I
feel like a lot of things might have been on the page at one point, but they either didn't have the money or didn't know how to make it happen on screen effectively. Because I think you make a good point. Like those guys that were getting into a fight at the bar could very well have been influenced by an evil freaking amulet. Mm-hmm. But how the fuck does the audience know?
Yeah.
No, but that's a good point.
Well, like, they gave us a good call signs for it. We called attention to the amulet. We went back to them fighting. We called attention to the amulet. The fight started again. And at
the same time we call attention to the amulet, we see the demon going fucking losing his shit. We see that connection.
You know what they could have done?
Come on.
You remember when the demon first gets down on the subway and they had that music, that sound effect that you were like, where have I heard this before?
Oh, yeah, the Class of Nukem High sound.
It was like a weird, like...
that's what my brain associated with, that weird, like... God, I can't even describe it. Gyrating is the wrong sound.
It sounded like a weird effect that you've maybe seen in a bunch of 50s like sci-fi films.
I feel like I recognize most of those sounds because they've just been used before.
Yeah, it's like a weird like resonating sound, like
it's like the
wah, 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 something like that. Yeah. If they had used that in the sound design, in the cutting of that sequence, where like
when we actually had the demon in the subway, and it would have made sense.
You close in on the amulet. While the guys are getting into a fight, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah,
guys are getting into a fight. Wah, a little bit louder. Well, the guys are getting into a fight. They have the fight. Wah, yeah. It's like, oh, guess what? A little bit of sound design just made that scene make sense.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
Now we have an implication. Now we
100%.
have a stronger reason to worry about this fucking amulet.
Exactly, because like even at the end of the film, you're like, okay.
Yeah. we got to call out a couple of the quotes. Like, I think the big one that he started with was when the cop tries to, like, at the beginning. I'm just going to keep calling him Warhawk because it's so much cooler than calling him Luke Curtis, which was his character's name.
Oh, when he's training him, he tells
train
him,
the cop.
Yeah,
and he says, the next time you try to recruit me into that pig pen of yours, I'ma ice you.
that shit was awesome. It's like, whoa, okay, man, easy.
Yeah,
Fucking awesome.
Like, what was the other one?
I know Rodan rolled in right after and be like, "Why you let that honky in here?"
Yeah. Yeah, that dude. What was the other one?
Man.
So there was some dialogue that was. It's just
You do it your legal white way. Now stay out of my life.
oh
Hell yeah. No, Warhawk did have some good lines.
And the moment where, like, they buy the cocaine and they're like, we better keep tasting it to make sure it's cocaine.
yeah. I mean, that's what you do. You just keep tasting it.
You stand in broad daylight on a street corner, basically like fun dipping cocaine into your mouth.
Oh, fun dip. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I feel like I used to eat those and think they were drugs. Like,
I think
in my
we all
head.
did. That and pixie sticks, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever snort pixie sticks?
I didn't because I watched somebody do it and it hurt them. And I was
No,
like, I'm
it
not
hurt my
doing
brain
that.
very much so. I did one at a LARP one time.
Yeah, I did that. I did that with a blue
awful.
one, and I sneezed blue for a long time.
Yeah, I literally watched somebody do it. I'm like, that hurt them. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. No.
See, that's because you're smarter than me, low down. I was just like, oh, fun colors, neat. And yet I've never done, like, hard drugs.
I will say, snorting particular hard drugs don't hurt.
Yes, they don't hurt.
So
Just saying.
so sugar deterred me.
They make
Sugar-
your bad feelings
sugar-
into good feelings.
Sugar might have saved your life.
Sugar worked better than the DARE program. Excellent.
You don't want none of this
Fuck
shit.
you, Nancy Reagan.
You don't want none of this shit, Murphy.
I mean, yes, anyways, but
I'm
fuck you,
sorry.
Nancy Reagan. Don't apologize. Fuck you, Nancy Reagan.
Fuck you, Nancy Reagan. Well, you almost like spit on yourself. That's what I was apologizing
Oh, okay.
for.
Whatever. Like, I've never drooled on myself
All right.
before.
So I guess we can briefly go
Not
over.
going there.
We can briefly go over like the people that made this movie, who did very few things.
After?
Otherwise,
Yeah.
Theodore Gottlieb is the only one that really went on to do more stuff.
True. Yeah. The director, Barry Rosen, he wrote and directed this. I guess he wrote it with some other folks, but the only other movie he directed was Yum Yum Girls,
The Yum Yum Girls.
which
Yeah.
I think I actually have. I haven't seen it yet.
I bet
You probably do because you just own films for the fucking sake of owning them sometimes, Grutz.
However, no, he was a producer on many more. That was most of his career, and he had some producing credits. He did do Highway to Hell, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That's a 90s like post-apoc movie. It's really cool. It's way better than it has any reason to be.
He was a producer on the Highlander series too, right?
I think so, yeah, for a while. And then he did the movie that killed John Candy. He did Wagons East. He produced it.
Yeah.
So maybe this guy is an asshole.
Maybe.
I don't know. But
Oh, John Candy.
yeah,
miss you.
we already mentioned Warhawk Tanzania. He was only in one other movie, which seems like a waste of his physique and talent. And he even had some decent. He could deliver a line. Like he had some bravado. So like,
I feel like if he'd gotten some, like, maybe some acting training and some other stuff and a decent fight choreographer, he would have been great. But I couldn't even find, like, anything else, like, any other information on him after this.
Yeah.
Like, he was just sort of like, peace him out.
yeah, no,
He was
did
in
this
Force
and
4, yeah.
that's it.
Prior to
That's
this.
what it was, Force 4. I feel like he probably, and I have not seen Force 4, so don't know the story with that, but I couldn't imagine there being like an easy time filming this movie. It was probably like a struggle.
I bet they did a whole lot of guerrilla filmmaking apart from the crowd
As somebody
scenes.
who probably, and if you're somebody that wants to make film and you're dealing with like bullshit and not and not to the level of just like low budget. Like, look, every actor's done something that has been, but like this film takes it to kind of another level.
Yeah.
And this was, I guess, late enough. Like blaxploitation had already been a pretty thriving genre for like
15 years?
most of a decade.
Yeah.
At this point, and
It started in like
you could
60,
tell,
right?
Yeah, you could tell, late '60s, and I think that was like Sweetback's was like 69, 70 maybe. But you can tell. I mean, so many of the scenes in this movie, they had no permits, obviously. Like there was a scene of like the first kill, that old guy with like the really bad suit. He's rolling up on the subway to try to get to the door, and that's just them timing a guy running up to a subway, and the door closes and it takes off. Like they didn't rent the fucking subway or the car or get
No.
extras for that shit.
No.
Hell no.
But even before that, like, I remember watching the scene where he's like trying to get through the turnstile, and the dude in the booth's like, "Man, what you doing, man?" And then he like just goes in through the outdoor. Zeppelin reference.
There you go.
And I'm like, you're just gonna like. Never in another film where like you would just let him roll into the subway without
Yeah.
paying.
Right.
Like, it was just like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Sorry, there was just definitely like a
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
yeah. I mean, you know,
I mean,
I'm trying not to be too much of an asshole to this film.
no,
I
it's
really
okay.
am.
You know what?
I don't know who in this film is going to come fight us about it.
True, fair.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Warhawk, he's not dead, and he probably could still kick the shit out of me.
Oh, I'm sure that he
You know
could
what?
kick the shit out of me.
I would
but
get
that's
him to
fine.
sign a poster at a con if he ever showed up.
Fuck
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
I would get him to sign a poster.
Yeah,
No,
he was
I would
awesome.
love to see these guys at like a, Cinema Wasteland or something.
Something like that, yeah. Like I would go if it was just him. Anybody else in the movie could fuck off. If he showed up, I'm in.
Hell yeah.
Because like I said, I did enjoy his. And I feel like certain people actually had training with martial arts. They just no one knew
Yeah.
how to choreograph the shit.
Yeah.
It was like
Either
watching
we're fighting
like
or we're not.
it was like if Michael Jai White had a fucking time machine, he could have made this movie so much better because he knows how to like choreograph
Yeah.
martial arts because he's a martial arts master. Like,
I feel like at the time when this was released, this is a couple years back, or at least the DVD release, rather, I should mention. When this came out, so Code Red, Scorpion releasing, Blue Underground, some of these guys were doing some of these more obscure titles before Vincent really got into the game and big. And I feel like had that not happened then, 5 years later, Vincent would have found a print and done like a Blu-ray 4K print of this, in their own fashion. And it feels like that kind of movie that's like forgotten to time. And if somebody didn't like restore it, we might have never even heard of this shit.
yeah,
It would have been a poster in a book somewhere about a movie that nobody can see.
No, I'm definitely glad that we had this access to it and that like you watched it on Tubi, right?
yeah.
Yeah, at the time of recording, it was available on Tubi. Grutz, you had the Code Red DVD of it, so we got to watch it.
No, the Tubi, I did preview just to make sure that the Tubi was working. And it does say Code Red at the beginning of it. So
nice.
it is
Okay.
their cut of it, or it is their
Awesome.
restoration of it. So it is in widescreen. It doesn't look like a total trash VHS or something.
No, like I was actually surprised with how well it looked for
Yeah, so it's
what
the
it
same,
was. Honestly, when I
Yeah,
was
it's the
watching
same
it.
thing
Yeah.
I got on disc here. But I guess, yeah, that was Devil's Express. For me, it was something that I definitely saw, did not remember most of it. I definitely didn't remember how long it felt.
Dude, it
Holy
was
shit.
kind of a struggle bus at a certain point, especially
Yeah.
like getting off work, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch this film, and I was like, what the fuck, like, and especially if like, like if you're in the middle of watching something that's like series related, and you stop to watch a film, and this is any film,
And then you're daydreaming about the series.
because the film is just so bad. Like it's kind of what this film was for me at points. But I was able, to be fair to the film, I did drop positive points because I was I wanted to pay attention to it just to give the film its due.
Yeah,
Because that film wasn't 100% shit, right?
Right. No, it just
and it had good
had its
attributes to it.
It had its shortcomings. But
Exactly.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean I wasn't wishing. Does this motherfucker end already? God damn.
Yeah, true. Well, yeah. So
I would have liked a lot more Subway Demon, but
Yeah,
With visibility.
it had some opportunities.
you know
but
what? Even if we're just shredding people in a subway and I can't fucking see you, that's fine. Just give me more bodies.
What about him going invisible at the fight scene? We didn't talk about the final fight
Oh
scene.
yeah, no, that's
That's
fine.
true.
That was okay because then we got some solid acting from Warhawk, and then we got to see him doing like those motions of fighting because he fought the demon took the form of his lady, duplicates of
Rodan.
of Rodan's friend first,
right.
and then it went invisible, and then I wrote the worst BFF ever, which is Rodan, and then it was like weird subway cars rushing at him, like
I
disorienting
didn't
him.
understand that part at all.
That was just visions of subways.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fucking with him mentally.
Yeah. And then
Again-
finally, like, the demon form. And
Again, it just didn't communicate its abilities.
That's what
Also-
that was him fucking with him because he thinks the subway's coming.
Right.
See, I didn't get that at all. I
But
thought it
you
was
ha-
like
you
another
have
tunnel.
to,
The
you
only-
have to connect all the dots.
Fuck
the only
that.
reason that I got that is because Krusty Leper said that it was going to mess with him, and then he was like, I will help the only way I can with my mind. And I was like, is this the ancient Chinese version of thoughts and prayers?
I think so.
Like,
This is the ancient. When he, I remember
we saw
him.
no help from this.
I remember him saying that in my mind. As soon as I saw his girlfriend, I was like, okay, well that's clearly duh.
Yeah,
What the fuck's
obviously.
she doing in a subway?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's it. And then there was all those other weird after
She
that.
was
it
pretty
was
foxy in the subway. She could fight me in a subway.
like,
Yeah, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Never mind.
Let's wrap this bitch up. That was Devil's Express.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad I saw the movie for real this time because obviously, my non-paying attention ass or drunk ass brain many years ago obviously thought different of the movie, and it's good to get a better read on it.
Because you thought it was fucking amazing, didn't you?
I probably did. Yes, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
This is sweet.
Yeah, this is
know.
so good. What's this guy's name? Warhawk? Tanzania? Holy shit, he's awesome.
I think what I really wanted was to like combine Street Trash with this. Like I wanted Street
Trash is way
and-
better of a film than
I
this.
know,
and
but
that's I mean,
but I wanted
let's
to
be
like,
real. Let's be
I
real.
wanted to merge the two. That's what I wanted. I wanted those two to make a baby film.
But with
That
an
would've been a
amulet
shit
versus
show.
wine.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Kung Fu and amulet
melted
versus
goo.
wine and hobos.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I
Yeah.
would fucking watch that.
Fuck
I
yeah.
would. So, Murph, you brought it up earlier. Like, this film I feel like could benefit from a remake.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I think
It's a good premise.
better than a remake, a remix.
Remix.
So we get the
do
guys,
both.
we get the guys
it.
with the talent, like the Everything and Terrible guys, to cut Street Trash and this together.
Daniels.
No, Everything is Terrible.
Everything is
like
Terrible,
those
just kidding.
VHS
Sorry.
remix dudes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Check them out on YouTube. They're awesome.
Yeah, they do good shit.
But like, yeah, you mash it together, man. You know,
Yeah.
put a little of this, put a little of that in there. So let's talk about. All right. So if we were going to have some friends over, screen this as a double feature, this would probably be the second one. You know? But what would we pair it with?
Oh God, I don't want to go first. I've been thinking. I don't know.
I can go first. If you want to go first?
Up to you. I think I've got my pick. Because the whole time I was just wishing I was watching it. Just the Last Dragon.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
The Last
Can't
Dragon.
go wrong with the Shogun of Harlem.
The Last Dragon is
Yeah.
one of the most entertaining movies of all time.
It's
I mean, come on, and it's quotable as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that's
Kiss my cock.
that's a great fucking thing. On this same kick, there's this movie called Ebony, Ivory, and Jade, which features a trio of badass women fighters.
Okay, I'm in.
Young, sexy. Of course, we have an Asian, a black woman, and a white woman who are all very capable in whooping fucking ass, and it definitely falls into this era of late 70s. It might be early 80s, Ebony, Ivory, and Jade, but I think it's maybe late 70s. And it's just a fun romp, lots of action, better exploitation than this movie, and a good time. And of course, it would be the first movie because this one drones on and people aren't going to pay attention. That's better
I
that
just
way.
want to see some kick-ass
Because I
fights.
enjoyed it better when I wasn't paying attention.
Yes.
So yeah.
So I think for me, it depends on if I want to show a movie prior that people will pay attention to, because that way in the second movie they don't need to worry about that and they can just kind of catch the highlights.
Yeah.
I would go with Shaolin versus Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Just like
Fuck yeah.
like actual legit, like historically they're following this path, and like against all obstacle, and the choreography for that era, which was late 60s, early 70s
Yeah,
kung
yeah.
fu. But they're surprising, they know how to film it better then. than they did in this film.
They already had it
all
the
about-
fuck down.
It's all about your choreographers.
They knew how to
and your-
produce fight choreography already.
But if I wanted 2 shit shows back to back, I'm giving you double here.
Oh.
I would still start with what I consider a better film after watching this, and that's The Man with the Iron Fist. Still keeping it within Wu-Tang. I mean, obviously, RZA directed that. But that movie is, you go into it knowing you're going to get a spectacle, good camera angles, stories for shit, but the cinematography and the action is fucking phenomenal. It's a gorgeous film. Gorgeous film.
Yeah.
Story makes fuck all sense. But the story is amazing.
I never saw the sequel.
I didn't know there was a fucking sequel.
Yeah, I think there's a second one.
RZA made 2?
Yeah.
We're learning together.
So, but yeah, I just would double down, like, if I wanted to, because you can watch Man with the Iron Fist and not focus on it, and kind of still know what's going on, and still enjoy the film. And either of those films will allow you to get, like, your thirst quenched, prior to what you're getting ready to watch.
Yeah, it's a far better crafted film,
Yeah.
even being what it is. Yeah,
Exactly.
100% agree.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, we are at the tail end here.
Yep.
I would like to say that check out Beautiful Disasters everywhere you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram now.
Yeah.
You can reach out to us directly at beautifuldisasterspodcast@gmail.com.
Please email us. Our inbox is so lonely.
Well, we want suggestions.
We want suggestions. We want feedback. We want to know what you're watching, if you enjoyed the episodes, all sorts of stuff.
Absolutely. And, of course, check out all the fucking shows on the GUI Network.
Especially, Steven, don't you have your own show on the GUI Network?
I do, and I actually started the show with one of the other hosts of this particular podcast. It's called From the Mouths of Madness. It's all horror, all the time. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Hell
Fuck
yeah. It's pretty fucking rad.
We release every Thursday. Look for it.
We just started releasing every Thursday, too.
We're gonna.
Oh, we're
Can you
getting
believe
like
it?
the.
we're gonna try to get on that train. Yeah.
Nice.
We're doing it.
I mean,
Hell yeah.
no, that's fucking awesome. Because network's the network's getting to a size where like it's going to be double releases. There's no way around it.
Oh yeah.
'Cause you don't want to release on certain days, so you do have like a finite amount of days you want to release.
Right.
So fuck yeah. If there is a podcast to release on, I feel like BD and Madness kind of mix.
I feel like we make a tasty meal together.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think so.
Yeah. Meat and potatoes.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Speaking of tasty meals, my co-host for the day has been,
The Grutz
and I'm Murphy.
and our guest.
Low down.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and especially on the first episode back after the new year. I know we all take breaks.
Yeah.
Madness did as well. The other shows did as well on the network, and thank you for having me back for the first episode. That's awesome.
Thanks,
dude.
thanks for
Appreciate
we kind of a new format, mixing up a little bit. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Thanks
Appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks for being on this express with us.
Don't. No.
You know I'm gonna.
No.
Oh, Steven, if I can't hurt you with trivia, I have to hurt you with something.
All right.
Dirty
Well,
pool.
Yeah, slow down. Yes.
all right, folks. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm FU Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
Embrace the madness.
In a world with too many reboots and remakes,
Two men will stop at nothing to make it even worse.
join Mike the Hobbit and Tandy as they play by their own rules while pitching new takes on some of your favorite and least favorite films and TV shows. What podcast would dare to bring this upon the world?
This is Smack My Pitch Hit.
GUIPodcast.com.